racing legend and a master storyteller, and could compete with the best of them at weaving a tale about racing. Winning an astounding 1,000 plus features in a driving career that began in the 1950s. Will's record of wins for the 1966 through 86 period in the class of modifieds that he raced made him #1 most dominating big block modified driver of all time, averaging 22 plus big block modified wins per season, more than any other driver. Would you please welcome Will Cagle. You have anybody you would like to thank tonight?
A bunch of them. No, first I'd like to clarify that tire deal there. It was true. Marvin Reifkin from M&H Tire Company in Watertown, Massachusetts, he came to the races one night, and we were fortunate enough to win that night, so he came over and struck up a conversation. He said, how would you like to be one of our test drivers? I said, well, what's it cost? He says, nothing, I give you the tires and you tell me how you like them. So I said, boy, I couldn't beat that with a stick. So we're on the program. So he'd send me some tires, and then I'd call him and tell him how they worked and all. And I said, but I'll tell you, I go to this one place, and I says, I can't stay hooked up, and get the bike that I need. It's Albany, Saratoga. I said, they water the heck out of that place, and the track stays almost tacky all night long. Right at the end of the feature, it'll glaze over. But he said, well, what do you need? I said, well, the softest tire you make is a 330. I said, and it's too hard. So I said, you make some drag rubber that's 201 drag rubber. Can you put a 201 drag rubber on a Racemaster carcass that all the other guys are running? He said, yeah, I can do that. I said, okay. So he sent me 2 tires for the back. Well, those tires hooked me up so good, halfway down the front straightaway, I had to throw it into the corner to keep it from pushing the front end coming off. So I won the race, but it was like really on the verge, every corner. So I called him up, and I said, hey Marvin, I said, you make a hell of a tire, but just for the rear. I said, now I need 201 drag rubber on a drag racing carcass, 10 inches wide for the front. Yeah, he said, I can do that. I said, well, but it's got to say that it's a 330, not a 201. He says, yeah, he said, I can do that. So he sent them to me, and I sent my wife down to New York City, down to the Bronx. She said, don't ever send me down there. She said she had to wave down a cop to ask him where the airport was, but I had him flew him in so I could run them, the next Friday night. So after the next Friday night, I called him up. I said, boy, you hit her right on the head. And I said, your logo on the side with what you marked it as, a 330, that even fooled him too. So he said, great. So I won 5 in a row. And it was just like taking candy away from babies. So finally, I think they got on to the tire deal, and the guy run into me and cut it. So he cut me once, so I called Marvin. I said, Marvin, I said, I need another one or two tires. He said, well, he said, I'll tell you, here's how it is. He said, when I make those tires, he said, I've got to make 50 of them at a time, or I've got to spend a ton of money to make one or two. He said, do you want 50? I said, hell no, I don't want 50. I said, I don't want them running around out there, you know, selling to the other guys, because then I'm right back in the same boat. Well, he said, all right. He said, I'll get you 2 or 3 of them. And sure enough, they cut them too. So, but we won a lot of races with his tires, and they were great. But he had to mark them where they would pass tech. And I had one other little deal down at East Bay. I'm running a sprint car, and this Jack Noling, he owned a boat trailer place over in St. Petersburg. After the races, him and his wife, they like to get into the Budweiser. Well, the more Budweiser they had, the faster that sprint car he owned. And I said, shoot. I said, these guys ain't nothing. He said, what, you can beat them? I said, yeah. I said, I'll give you a deal you can't refuse. I'll go over and pick your car up tomorrow. I'll take it to my shop. I'll set it up. We'll take it down to East Bay, and I'll run it. And if I run second back, don't pay me a dime. If I win, I want half. Boy, big boy, you got a deal. So I went over and got the car. We took it over to East Bay, and I started 22nd in the feature. And I got to running along there, and the race kept getting over and over. They weren't having any caution, so it was just wide open running. And I looked over, I was going by the start-finish line, and I looked over off the second turn, and there went the leader with 5 laps to go. Well, I caught him going into the first turn. I slid up in front of him and won the race. So we're standing there with the trophy and the flag. I said, well, I guess we got her done, huh, big boy? He says, not quite. I said, what do you mean not quite? We won the race. Yeah, but he said, you ain't got through tech yet, and the motor's a little big. So I said, well, I can take care of that. How big is it? He said, it's 377, and you're allowed 350s, 356. So I said, go get me a coat hanger, and I'll get you through tech here. So we covered the engine all up, because they were still running the lower classes. So we covered the engine up under pretense that, you know, we don't want to get dirt in the motor, but it was to hide what we were doing. I took the valve cover off on the right side. I asked Jim Blankenship, he was the head tech man. I said, hey Jim, which one you want to check? He said, that number 2, the first one on the right. He said, that'll be easy. I said, all right. So we took the spark plug out of number 2, took the rocker arms loose on it. I took that, and we took the headers off. Well, I took that coat hanger, and I had to have a piece about 8 inches long to get down into the cylinder wall. So I bent it, shoved her down there, then we put the plugs back in, backed the car up about 10 foot, and here he's running along, he's got a PG tester. Well, it's a tube with a leather thing that goes up so high, and it'll tell you exactly how many cubic inches you got. So he's running alongside the car, and we're putting it in gear and pushing it. Okay, 350, or 334. He says, you're okay. I said, that's all I need to know. So I went back to Jack, and I said, well, I need half of $750. You got it, he says. I want to thank my family, my wife, and we've got 3 lovely children, and the oldest one is about somewhere around 60. He turned 60 about 2 years ago. And then I've got 2 girls, and they're not as old as he is. And so, but I've had a wonderful career, and the main thing, I've done what I wanted to do. I didn't do what somebody had to tell you to do. And every morning when I'd get up and get out of bed, I said, well, let's see, I got this to do, and I'd get with it and go do it. And I have to thank my wife. She's, I picked her up hitchhiking 66 years ago. And she's still here. So, but she's done everything along the racing tracks too. She's towed the cars and everything. There was a couple of times here that I thought I was going to lose a tow truck driver, but I didn't. And she's been really right there. And anything, she knows what we got to do, and she's been right in there pitching with me. So I'd like to thank her, and I'd like to thank the Village's club here for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I consider it quite an honor. And I think I've used my 3 minutes up.
Congratulations.
This is their medal.
Don't mess my hair.
Well, that's what all the boys said. Don't mess my hair up, don't mess my hair up. And this is our plaque for inducting it to the Hall of Fame. And we're so glad you came, and we enjoy your stories. Write that book and we'll all buy it.